Hello royal folks. Before we start, please subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon. Thanks. In the latest episode of her podcast Archetypes, the Duchess of Sussex explored the origin and use of the word *tech and its cousin, difficult. Meghan Markle spoke with businesswoman Melody Hobson and entrepreneur Victoria Jackson about how the terms are wrongly applied to strong-minded women. Creator and writer Robin Thede, author Alison Yarrow, and zoologist Lucy Cook also joined the royal for meaningful conversations about the negativity surrounding the term. Meghan revealed her own hatred for the B word, confessing she has a visceral reaction whenever she hears it. Ahead of her conversation with Miss Yarrow, the Duchess said, "We've been exploring what it means for women to ask for what they need, to stand in their power, and also the kinds of labels like difficult or pushy, or the B word, that often follow along from that behavior. I've made it known I have a deep dislike for these labels, especially the last one." Meghan goes on to introduce Miss Yarrow to the podcast, and the pair delve into a deep discussion about the etymology of the word. The author said, "Etymologists believe that the word bitch came out of this Greek insult that meant women were dogs in heat. Begging for men, that was the idea. And there was a more modern definition that was written down in the 1890s, and it was bitch was an appellation. That was the worst name you could call an English woman, even worse than a whore. So it was codified as this way of degrading women by saying that they were hypersexual, but also it sort of took away this idea that they were goddesses. So it took away this divine power and replaced it with degrading sexuality." The pair go on to discuss the ninities and early noughties, describing it as a time when a new, modern type of woman was emerging. A woman who was getting married at a younger age, completing higher education, and entering the workforce. They talked about the introduction of the 24-hour news cycle and, as Miss Yarrow labels it, the bitchification of women in the headlines. She said, "If you name a woman during that decade, the treatment of them used various archetypes, derivatives, corollaries, and actually the word bitch to undercut their personas and to bitchify them." Meghan pinpointed this constant and public name-calling as part of why she has such a visceral reaction to this word, adding, "It was implanted on a granular level, without any of us thinking about it at the time." She continued, "This demonization of these women, of course, had ripple effects." Miss Yarrow added, "All of these interpretations of these various famous women have very real impacts for real women and girls, because women and girls saw these stories unfold. And at the time, we really weren't having a mainstream conversation about how sexist and racist the coverage of these women was. We were just internalizing these images of women being incompetent, unfeminine, and hypersexual as truth. And so that really impacted what we perceived as being possible for our own lives." On the other hand, royal expert Victoria Arbiter has suggested Meghan has been using her Spotify podcast to push back against some of the attacks on her reputation. Last week on Australian morning show Sunrise, Miss Arbiter said, "Certainly, I think her podcast has been an incredible platform to push back against some of the wrongs she feels she has experienced." This week, people are interpreting her comments as pushing back against that label. It was coined in 2018 following rumors Meghan was quite difficult to work with. There were these 5 AM emails. Several staff members claimed that they had been reduced to tears due to how she and Harry had spoken to them. These claims have been strenuously denied by the Sussexes. With the podcast, it is an opportunity to kind of get her version in there. Probably not in quite the same blatant way that we have seen through the interviews, such as with Oprah Winfrey, but still an opportunity to lay it straight as she sees it. So what do you think, guys? Please share your thoughts in the comments. Until then, thanks for watching. We'll see you again with some more interesting news about royal family. Thank you.